everyone! I've decided to change my schedule a bit. The thing is, because of my workload at my main job, I can study effectively in the evenings, so I've moved my study time to the morning. Now, every morning before work, I dive into a new topic for me or solve problems on LeetCode. And I must tell you, it's quite productive as my mind is much more clear before work. Today I'm learning about a new communication protocol for web applications called WebTransport. Many consider this technology as an alternative to WebSockets. According to the description of this protocol, it's supposed to offer faster, more reliable and secure connections compared to WebSockets. However, as I understood, to fully benefit from the advantages of WebTransport, it's optimal to use it alongside HTTP3. That's the main idea. By the way, I wanted to share how exactly I study new topics and even find out about them in the first place. For instance, I'm reading a general article about JavaScript and I come across the term TypeScript in a paragraph. If I hadn't heard of it before or wanted to learn more about it, I would write down "learn more about TypeScript" in my study list. What's interesting is that whenever I start exploring a topic from this list, I always end up adding new topics to it, which I come across during the study of the current one. Well, it's time to start my main job. The first thing I'm doing is the daily stand-up meeting. We discuss current tasks and tasks remaining for the release. During testing, a few issues were found, and we're trying to come up with solutions that would cover possible corner cases. Our daily meetings last no more than 15 minutes, but today we took a whole half hour and still had many unresolved issues that we'll discuss next time. My task for today is a bit unusual. A service has been operating on our project for a long time, which we turned off a couple of years ago. Now we have decided to revive it. While it was on a break, the project and its architecture underwent significant changes, and this specific service was running on an independent EC2 instance. My job is to set it up, launch it, and update its configuration to run under Docker. Yes, just 2 years ago it was being operated via Supervisor. Likely after a successful launch, I'll need to deploy the service using serverless. I will also have to configure the routing and make it accessible to other services. Yesterday I spent some time deploying it to a new EC2 instance, and today I tried to launch the project. Of course, nothing works right off the bat because there are issues with the libraries, which I'm updating one by one. Besides that, to make further development possible, I'm updating the version of Python used by this project. So, the library is installed successfully, and now I have to connect the project to the database. I created a Postgres database in RDS yesterday. After entering the database credentials and trying to restart the supervisor, it wasn't in the mood and shut down with an error. After a while, I resolved this issue and the project finally started. As with the past few weeks, today is quite a busy day, so I quickly prepare my lunch and watch an interesting video. A couple of months ago, I became interested in coffee, his brewing methods, and started watching this coffee nerd, James Hoffmann. In his videos, he talks about different coffee beans and how to brew them. Thanks to his videos, I've come to appreciate coffee without adding milk or sugar, and now I exclusively drink espresso or americano. Before that, I couldn't understand how people could even drink it, thinking it was nasty. Well, back to work. This particular service I'm working on consists of 2 models. I have already launched one, leaving one more to go. I created a new repository for it on GitHub, cloned the project, initiated the package installation process, and surprisingly, everything went smoothly. For this service, I also added database credentials and restarted the supervisor. Both models are up and running successfully. Now I need to create the necessary Docker files for each repository. I know what I need to specify in the Docker files, so I frame my query to ChatGPT, check and slightly correct its response, as I didn't provide the exact name of my project due to security concerns. Upon attempting to launch the project using Docker, I encounter an error. It's related to one of the required libraries being private and accessible only through SSH. I checked if it was essential for it to remain private and realized I could use an updated public version instead, which resolved the issue. I pushed the Docker files to their respective repositories. Next, I'll have to deactivate the supervisor and transfer the responsibility of project launches on the server to Docker. Additionally, I'll need to set up the project routing and implement CI/CD using GitHub Actions. However, all these tasks are for next week. For now, I'm wrapping up my work for the day. Alright, I had dinner, practiced some yoga, and took a brief rest. Now I am ready to present a report on the progress of my mobile application. Last time I created a series of tasks in Trello and added a module related to user registration. Today's task is to develop the architecture for the financial operations model. In the current version of the app, users can perform 4 actions. Add money to their account, for example, when receiving a salary, transfer money from one account to another, add an expense under a specific category, and contribute money to a saving goal. I've conceived a few database schema options. The first approach is there will be one common table with a type field that would specify the nature of the transaction. And the second one is each operation will have its dedicated table. For example, transfer account operation or expense category operation. Each option has its pros and cons. I decided to consult ChatGPT about it. After briefly explaining the essence of my model and the project overall, ChatGPT suggested a unified operation table. One advantage of this approach is the simplicity of database queries, since there is no need to call upon different tables. All will be stored in one, and operations will be segregated based on their type. However, a significant disadvantage, which for me is a red flag, is that depending on the operation type, some fields will be null. Besides, I imagined that if I handed this architecture over to another developer, they might find it non-obvious and might resent me for it. By the way, I also considered using MongoDB instead of Postgres, but I think it might complicate this project further. Therefore, I'm leaning more towards the option of having a separate table for each scenario. Moreover, if in the future I wish to introduce a unique feature related to a specific scenario, this approach seems suitable. As I said, I'm leaning towards it, but want to delve deeper into the topic to reach a conclusive decision. I would greatly appreciate reading your thoughts on this in the comment section. Well, I think that's it for today. Thank you friends for watching this video, I truly value it. See you next time.